Okay, so for Q3 week 2, we just had 4 questions to start it off. So we're going to go through those 4. So remember, go straight to the question. In experiment 3, so that's where I'm going to look. And then SIN 501 is really complicated because it can be anything. So it's read the question and then the answer choices. Alright, and then you will also need to skim experiments for table headings and data. And then you pull out your answer from there. Because SIN 501 is such a broad standard, you can't really sort of pick steps for each of these. So, in experiment 3, which of the following conditions resulted in increased bacterial growth? So, in increased bacterial growth. So I'm going to go to experiment 3, and I'm going to look at the results. Growth proportional to control. So, which one increased the growth? So, looking at these numbers here, 10 samples of bacteria were placed in each of 2 Petri dishes. And I'm just going to read it so I know that I understand. 4 different environments were created: dry light, dry dark, moist light, and moist dark. The bottoms of the Petri dish were each half moist and half dry. The dishes were covered with Petri dish. Dish 1 was placed in a darkened area, dish 2 under a 25 watt lamp. After the amount of bacterial growth in each dish was recorded and compared. Okay, so proportional, so that means that we're dealing with a percentage or a fraction. This is less than 1, this is less than 1, this is less than 1, but this is more. 1.15, that's more, that's 115%. So, what area is this one? So it was dish 2 and the moist side. So that looks like the moist is going to be one of our answers. So I can cross that off. B and C, because I know it's moist. Now, is it the dark environment or the light? So then I have to go back to the passage. Dish 2 was directly under a 25 watt lamp. So my answer is D. Alright. Little bacteria growth occurred when which of the following experimental conditions were present? So, which condition was present for the smallest amount of bacterial growth? These are pretty high. The smallest amount of bacterial growth. So, little growth, that means I'm looking for a small number. So I'm going to find the smallest number. The smallest number right here is 0.53. That's my small. So what is that condition? Dish 1, in the dark, dry. So Petri dish was placed in a dry area. Petri dish was placed in a moist area. Petri dish was left in a regularly lighted. And then, let's see. The dishes were covered after 2 hours of the bacterial growth. This one is also pretty low because this is proportional. So, now let's see. When are our answers the lowest? So, what did these 2 things have in common? Dry side and in the dark. But dark isn't an option here. So I can cross off lamp, I can cross off lighted, I can cross off moist. So it's process of elimination after that. So what do these 2 numbers have in common? Dry and dark. So we need to find dry and dark. So my key terms from the table, dry and dark. Okay, number 3. What changes in the procedure would be necessary if the biologist wanted to study how varying, that means changed, degrees of moisture affected bacterial growth? So, what would happen if we needed to change the moisture? So, I can cross off A right now because this says stay the same and the question says varying. Those key terms don't match. 2 Petri dishes would be tested, 1 dry and 1 moist. They already do that. So these are 2 things that already happen. So let's move on to C and D. The biologist would use multiple Petri dishes with different amounts of moisture. That sounds like an independent variable to me. Yay! So the answer is C. And number 4. Based on experimental results, which of the following conditions would the biologist use to discourage growth of the 10 types of bacteria? So, what are the things that have the smallest numbers? So let's go again. Small, small. What are these comments? Dry and dry, dark and dark. So my answer for 4, I need to find my key terms, dry and dark. The answer is C.